Theodore, Vietnamese, Theodore.
Okay.
Okay, Theodore. Theodore, are you ready to start the Dhamma talk?
Okay, you can start.
Sadhu. Vietnamese, Theodore, and good evening, everyone. Good morning for everyone in the East Hemisphere. Welcome to the 7-day plus 14-day Samatha-Vipassanā Meditation Retreat conducted by Venerable Aganya and Venerable Kovida. Today, Venerable Kovida will continue with Dhamma talk on Bojjhanga Sutta, part 17. May we now respectfully invite Venerable to start today's Dhamma talk, and may we invite both interpreter Bantes to start the translation. Sadhu.
Today, before we start, we will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Today we will.
Sarah,
Okay.
sorry. Sarah, do you mind just wait for a while because our main laptop, the connection dropped off. So Pandit
Okay.
Dhammakasa
Okay.
need to do some setting.
Okay. Okay.
Sadhu. Sorry, Seattle. Please wait a while. We still can't connect the laptop yet.
Okay.
Ante 听得见吗？
Hello，听得见的，稍等稍等。
Ante 请点英文哈，英文全了。
Hello，点了。
OK，好，萨度，OK 了，可以看得到。
Okay, now? Can we start?
Yes, Seattle. OK, Seattle is OK now.
Okay.
Sadu.
Okay, so now. Today we will continue talking about the enlightenment factor of concentration. So we have many different types of concentrations in Buddha's teaching. Many of you also have known many different types of concentration. Now you may have that kind of knowledge. But today we have to explain all types of concentration because it will be very useful for the practitioners. Okay, now Adamani Titan Sama Adiyati Samadhi Samawa Adiyati. This is the Bali definition. Calmly keeping the mind in an object, or where keeping the mind in an object is concentration. So that means if we can keep our mind on the same object, in a single object, we can say it's a samadhi. So in Vietnamese Sangha or in many other places, we also mention something like a Chikri Kakata, one-pointedness. This means when we can know one object all the time, we have one-pointedness. We can also say concentration. So to develop concentration, then we also mention two different nimitta. Samatha nimitta, the sign of concentration. So in this case here, preceding concentration is the cause of succeeding concentration. The counterpart sign is also called samatha nimitta. Actually, this guy one can be found in Samatha-Vipassanā Sutta. Is a commentary. So about sign of concentration, we can also find in Anguttara Nikaya. Anyway, the main thing is when we are practicing, then all the preceding practice will be the cause for succeeding concentration. For example, we may focus on the breath one time. If focus one time, no breathing, right? Only one moment. Then we may focus 2 or 3 times. Then there can be breathing one and succeeding one. So that means in every single awareness, it will be supporting causes of succeeding one. That's what we call samatha nimitta. So we have already mentioned the counterpart sign, the last state of nimitta, is also called samatha nimitta. Because this counterpart sign will be the object of jhana and as a concentration. So abhayaka nimitta, sign of one-pointedness. The mind is taking only single object without restlessness is called abhayaka nimitta. So that means we just keep knowing only one thing without following any other subject. In the case of anapanasati, we just keep knowing anapanasati without following any other feeling, sensations, or pain, or anything, or we don't follow any thoughts or any mental states, any visible objects, or any thoughts. If we don't follow anything like that, just keep knowing single things, this is called abhayaka nimitta. It's also called succeeding concentration. Of course, to have succeeding concentration, we also have preceding concentration. And preceding concentration will be the cause. Succeeding concentration will be the effect. So abhayaka means not having many different objects. This is also called abhayaka. Different means anapana. Even in anapanasati, we have 3, right? The in-breath, the out-breath, and the touching point. So we call Chala Samadhi, that means shaking concentration. We also have Ajala Samadhi. For example, some concentration are very stable, some objects are very stable and shaken. In the case of anapanasati, it's moving. So when we just see the nimitta, it will be stable. It will be only one object. But in the case of anapanasati, this is a moving concentration, moving object. So we have to be more patient. And anyway, when we have this kind of samadhi, that's 2 types of nimitta, we can say we have concentration. So the main thing is Nimitta means sign. You can also say sign of concentration, a sign of one-pointedness. Actually, although we say two different things, right? One-pointedness also actually called concentration. So the main thing is, if we can focus on one thing, we can attain Nibbana, right? Then we can attain jhana, and also as a result, we can also proceed practicing vipassana. Okay, there are three kinds of samadhi and samatha. We must be a little bit careful this one. And many times I have explained this one in many different Dhamma talks, but here I should repeat for all the listeners again. So Bodhikama Samadhi, vibratory concentration. So when we are focusing on the breath, then we also have concentration. This is called Bodhikama Samadhi. Now we will see the nimitta. The first one, Bodhikama Nimitta. Then although we say Bodhikama Nimitta, we must keep knowing the breathing. This is also Bodhikama Samadhi. Now we have Ukha Nimitta. Sometimes Ukha Nimitta is very stable also. Although it's not very bright, it also can be stable. And we can also focus on the Ukha Nimitta for sometimes. Anyway, for safety, we also recommend to focus on the breathing, although you see Ukha Nimitta, second stage of Nimitta. At the time also we have a Bodhikama Samadhi, vibratory concentration. Then we have the last stage of Nimitta, Patibhaga Nimitta, the counterpart sign. At the time we also have Upachara Samadhi, Nirvaha concentration. Okay, one more thing here. I also misunderstand when I started in learning. As soon as we see Bodhikama Nimitta, we can attain asset concentration and absorption concentration, right? Because it doesn't mention very much in detail. So although we have seen Patibhaga Nimitta, we can also focus on the Nimitta. But if our mind cannot absorb on the Nimitta, that means our mind is not deep inside the Nimitta, then we cannot attain asset concentration or absorption concentration. Okay, the main thing is, as long as we cannot see Patibhaga Nimitta, the counterpart sign, we cannot attain asset concentration and absorption concentration. This is the object of asset concentration and absorption concentration. Then sometimes people also misunderstand. When they experience jhana factors, oh, my body is very strong, I think I'm in the third jhana. Then they thought they are in the third jhana because having very strong rapture, very strong piti. In reality, in the case of jhana, we cannot know jhana factors. We must know the nimitta. Jhana factor is not the object of jhana. They are the factors working together to know one object. So we can know jhana factors with revealed knowledge, but we know nimitta with the jhana minds. That's why two different objects. So that means asset concentration and absorption concentration can be attained when the counterpart Bodhibhaga nimitta arise. That means when the nimitta becomes very strong, very powerful, our mind will keep knowing Bodhibhaga nimitta, our mind will absorb on it at the time, asset concentration and absorption concentration. Even yesterday, some question I asked about how to differentiate asset concentration and absorption concentration. In the case of asset concentration, the jhana factor will arise. Jhana factor will arise, but not so powerful as absorption states. But they can also subside the defilements, both in asset concentration and absorption concentration. So at the time of asset concentration, the controlling faculties are not so strong and powerful yet. We cannot balance those controlling faculties. That is why we cannot maintain very well. From time to time, we may fall into Bojjhanga states. Bojjhanga state means a kind of subconscious or unconscious. You know something, but you cannot identify what kind of object you know. Your mind become blur, pointless. In this case, we can say Bojjhanga stage. But the main thing is, in the case of asset concentration, we may fall into Bojjhanga stage. In the case at the time of absorption concentration, we may not fall into Bojjhanga stage. We can balance controlling faculties very well. So these are the three kinds of samadhi in samatha. So now, for those who are practicing anapanasati, also can experience samadhi. This is called parikama samadhi. Then some of meditator may experience the light, the tranquility, rapture, joy, or anything. This is also, as long as you can know breathing, this is also parikama samadhi. Then you may have brighter lights, some side of like cotton wool or a piece of paper, piece of cloth, something like that, or any like a ruby or stone or something. You may see it somewhere around nursery or anywhere. As long as it's not so clear yet, we can say this also nimitta, but we can also understand this is only parikama samadhi. Well, that is why whatever shape, color, the light you see, don't focus on it, don't follow it, just keep knowing breathing normally. It's just preparatory sign, preparatory concentrations. So if we can improve more than that, we may have asset concentration and absorption concentration. Only when we can experience the counterpart sign, Pratibhaka Nimitta. It will take time to experience all these things, but the possibility, as long as you are trying. Then one more thing about samatha subject, the story of Venerable Kovida. So, okay, why I choose this story? Why I add this story, right? Yeah, no connection with samatha. Why I put this story? So when we are going to practice, then we have proper subjects given by the Buddha. For example, we have 10 Gasinas, and we also have 10 Asupas. We also have 10 recollections. That was 4 sublime abidings. That was the 4 immaterial jhanas. There are 4 elements, the possibilities of the foods. What I just mentioned, these types of practice in samatha. But there are some special people. Then Buddha also gives special subjects for that kind of meditators. At the time, we must know it will be different from ordinary people, right? Ordinary practice like we are doing anapanasati. Okay, Venerable Chula Pandaka, he was ordained, encouraged by his elder brother, Mahapandaka. He could not memorize his stanza, although he studied for 4 months. So his stanza is not that long. Only 4 sentences. Sentence also actually there's limited vowel sounds in every single sentence. So for your knowledge, you can go and check. You can go and read Mahanamakara. In Mahanamakara, in the very beginning, Sukadana Sutta has 8 vowel sounds in every single passage, every single sentence. Then gradually it will add 1 more vowel sounds, 9 vowel sounds in each sentence, 10 vowel sounds in each sentence like that. That is why if you want to know systematic Pali stanza composition, just go and study Mahanamakara. So 8, 9, 10, then add 1 by 1. It's very, very systematic. Actually, in his case, although he studied for 4 months, he could not study, he could not memorize his stanza. You can imagine how is his memory. It's very weak. So his elder brother chased him out of sasana. Like he is actually unwilling to leave. But he also respects his elder brother. His elder brother also thought, although he memorized for 4 months, he cannot memorize his stanza. then that means he cannot attain any part of his knowledge in Buddha's teaching. He thought like that. And that's why he encouraged his brother to leave. Then when he paid homage to the Buddha before disrobing, the Buddha asked, why are you going? They said he's going to disrobe. Encouraged by his brother. Then the Buddha said, no, this is not your brother's teaching. Okay, now this is my teaching. Then the Buddha gave him a piece of white cloth and had him rub the clothes till dirty. So white clothes. We don't have a white cloth meditation subject. Another thing is a white cloth can be white kasina. Maybe we can also connect it with, if we connect it, right? If we try to find the connection, it can be only white kasina. But here also, the Buddha asked him to rub, not to see white clothes, to rub. See, it's dirty. Different instructions. When we are going to practice white kasina, we must hang white piece of clothes. We must see it with our eye opens. After that, we must visualize the white clothes. But in his case, the Buddha just gave white clothes, that he also encouraged to rub until it gathered the dust in it. So gradually the color spoiled because of dust from the hands or in the finger. When seeing the clothes changing the color, he came to know the nature of pure mind and the defilements that change the pure mind. And he just know this kind of things. So that means based on the fourth material jhana. So here we can say fourth material, because white clothes, he may do white kasina, then later he may attain up to fourth jhana. Then once in the state of dirty clothes, then he can practice vipassana and he can attain headship together with analytical knowledges. Okay, one more thing here. What analytical knowledges? Not only that, you have already known he attained all the psychic powers, right? So I will not elaborate the story that much in detail because many of you have known. The main thing is, then pure clothes. I have already talked about it. Connection is a white kasina. So if we do white kasina, we can attain up to fourth jhana, fourth material jhana. Based on fourth material jhana, we can also proceed to practicing immaterial jhana. This is also possible. So that means here it doesn't mention the way he practiced very much clearly. That we can find only the Buddha gave him a piece of cloth, a piece of white cloth, he rubbed and it gathered the dust in it, changing the color. Okay, the main thing is in the case of kasina, we must close eye and keep seeing it, but he's rubbing. So because of his karma, right? Maybe he has very strong karma in the past, very strong parami in the past. That's why he can change jhana very easily. And then based on that, he can also practice vipassana. He can also attain headship together with analytical knowledges. So this means he was very high-ranking arhat at the time of the Buddha. So there are some special arhats, they attain psychic power together with analytical knowledges. In the case of Venerable Ananda, although he was Sotapanna, he attained analytical knowledges as Sotapanna. Similarly, there are some laywomen devotees also, they can attain Anagami together with analytical knowledges. There are special devotees like that. Anyway, the main thing is, it's very high ranking arhats, very high attainment, but the meditation instruction is very simple. Okay, this is for Venerable Jula Pandaka. If we go on a rough piece of cloth like that, we cannot attain anything because we are not special people. Only He's a special people. Similarly, you may also have read some story. Buddha gave him flower, lotus flower. When seeing it, he also could see the Namarupas. He goes to another ship. You may have read this kind of story. This is actually special practice for special people. Only the Buddha can give this kind of instructions. For ordinary people, it's impossible. That's why mostly I recommend it. Don't compete with special people. Okay, now we have to proceed another part. Classifications of samadhi. So we have many different types of concentrations according to Buddha's teaching. Later, we also have to elaborate according to the Pali text. But now, I will just analyze according to, we say, Brisamidamaga. We can find all these things in Brisamidamaga. Savitaka Savitaro Samadhi. We can also find in many other texts also. The concentration that associates with initial application and sustained application. So in Pali we call Vitaka Vichara, right? Savitakami, initial application, Savicharami, sustained application. Sometimes people also translate initial thoughts and sustained thoughts. Then if we translate like that, people misunderstand. When we are focusing on the breath, we have the thoughts. But here in reality, when we are focusing on the breathing, we have application. Our mind, we must apply our minds to the objects. Because of say, Vitakami directing the mind to the objects. This is also important. The Vichara was sustained after directed by Vitaka. The Vitaka were direct, Vichara was sustained, that we can know the object continuously. So this concentration covers momentary concentration. Later I have to explain momentary concentration. Then B, insight concentration. So Vipassana concentration. So sometimes people also use the Pali word Vipassana jhana. Yes, we also say Vipassana jhana. Then we also say momentary concentration. See, momentary concentration also from Vipassana. When we are doing Vipassana, we may have momentary concentration. Then again, C, asset concentration. I have already talked about asset concentration. Then D, the first jhana, the absorption concentration. Only in the first jhana, we may have Vitaka Vichara. In other higher attainments, higher jhanas, we don't have Vitaka Vichara. And then, these are the list of Savitaka Savitara Samadhi. One more thing here, asset concentration. In every single jhana, there's asset concentration. Okay, if we list out a little bit in detail, asset concentration after that first jhana. Before attaining second jhana, there's also asset concentration, then second jhana. Before attaining the third jhana, there's also asset concentration, then there will be third jhana. Before attaining fourth jhana, also asset concentration, after that attaining fourth jhana. In every single immaterial jhana also the same. Before attaining every immaterial jhana, there's the asset concentration. So whatever asset concentration there will be, Vitaka Vichara. Initial application, sustained application. There will be some other different. For example, in the fourth jhana, they will be different, right? Although they have Vitaka Vichara, but they don't have piti, it will be different. Okay, now 2. Avitaka Vichara Mato Samadhi. The concentration that associates with initial application, but associated with sustained application. This is actually second jhana. So in the case of second, in this case, we can say 5-4 methods. In the 5-4 methods, we have a Vittaka but no Vichara. Sorry, we have no Vittaka but only Vichara. In the 4-4 methods, then there will be Avittaka Avichara. Okay, that means we just say according to jhana fetters, we have different types of samadhi. Then the third one is Avittaka Avichara Samadhi, the concentration that associates with initial application and sustained implication, the third and the fourth jhana. According to 4-4 methods, it can be we can say second jhana, right? With the second jhana. So okay, the main thing is we just talk about Vittaka and Vichara too much. This is only jhana fetters. Then there are many other jhana fetters also. For example, Pidisagata, that arrives together with BT, something like that, right? So, okay, anyway, the main thing is sometimes we can classify samadhi by jhana fetters. So 5 jhana fetters, 3 jhana fetters, 2 jhana fetters. If we say 4-4 methods, if we say 5-4 methods, 5 jhana fetters, 4 jhana fetters, 3 jhana fetters, 2 jhana fetters, and so on. According to the jhana fetters, we can also classify samadhi. Okay, now again, we have to proceed. What is it? Momentary concentration. This is a very big question in every single Dhamma talk or every single retreat. That's why I choose this topic. I don't know how many times I have explained this one using the same slideshow. But now this one is a little bit different, right? Chinese and English, Pali, English, Chinese. So in Vietnam, I use Pali, English, Vietnamese. Okay, now. Samadham Chitanti, Bhatmajanati was saying, Aramani Chitam, Sama Arahando, Samantapendo. So that means Samadhan Chitta means evenly placing the minds on the objects by the power of the first jhana, etc. So here, by the power of the first jhana, we just keep the mind on the objects evenly. None of fetters are excessive. Then again, Tani Vapana Janani Samapachitawa Hutaya Jano Jana Sambayudan Chitan Kayado Wayado Sampasando. In other words, entering those jhanas and emerging from them, one contemplating jhana's mind and its associated mentalities as decaying and perishing. So you must remember this step. First enter jhana, second emerging from the jhana. Then the third step, contemplate jhana mind and associated mental fetters as decaying and perishing. 3 steps here. So here we have 2 different things. Samadhan Chitta is the main things we can find in Anapanasati. You may have read many steps, right? 4 set of Anapanasati. Then Samadhan Chitta, one of the parts. In the explanation, we can find all these things. Okay, briefly, I have already outlined, right? Enter jhana, emerging from jhana, descend, the contemplate jhana minds and associated mentalities as anicca dukkha anatta. We can say easier way. Okay, 3 steps. Just briefly 3 steps. If we elaborate, it will be many other steps also. Okay, now here. Vipassana kane lakana pati vedena opajati kanika jiti kakata. At the time of insights, the momentary concentration arises, realizing the three characteristics. So here, Samatha-Vipassanā commentary, book 2, page 101. Vinyasa commentary, book 2, page 34. Because of fine stimulating Visuddhimagga, page book 1, page 218. Sorry, 281. So that means, okay, revise previous one. Then we can find connection between previous passage and this passage. Enter jhana, emerging from jhana, descending or contemplating jhana dhamma as anicca dukkha anatta for easy understanding. At the moment of vipassana, the momentary concentration arises, realizing the three characteristics of anicca dukkha anatta. Lakkhana Pativeda, here Lakkhana means characteristics. Pativeda means realize. So, the momentary concentrations, according to this context, momentary concentration can arise after emerging from jhana, while descending jhana mentalities and materialities. We can understand roughly like this. Then now, many of teachers, they just cut the last part. At the time of insight, at the time of vipassana, right? The momentary concentration arises. Then when we are practicing vipassana, momentary concentration can arise. It's become very easy. So if we read full passage, is another meaning. Now I just say full passage, right? So entering, emerging, contemplating. After that, at the time of insight knowledge, momentary concentration arises. So now if we cut only the last part, vipassana kane, lakkhana pativeda, upajjhati, khanika cittika kata, if we just cut this part, then another meaning. At the time of vipassana, momentary concentration arises. That means whatever method you use, whatever focusing you use, as long as you name as a vipassana, there will be momentary concentration, right? If we cut the last part. That is why it's also important to know what is really momentary concentration, according to the text. But one more thing here, because this America is a Western country, right? There are some scholars, they disagree with the commentary. Then they also say commentary is not Buddha teaching. So if we don't accept the commentary, then we must not accept the momentary concentration. Because the momentary concentration can be found only in the commentary. We cannot find in Pali Canon. So here I just list out three commentary. It is Samatha-Vipassanā commentary, Vinaya commentary, also Visuddhimagga commentary. If we strictly follow Pali Canon, we don't have momentary concentration, we just have jhana concentration. So that means whenever we talk about right concentration, we must know what's really called right concentration. In samatha, we must know the samatha subject. We must attain the first jhana, second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana. But it also can be immaterial jhana. Then in the commentary, it also mentioned in the case of right concentration, then Upachara Samadhi also included. Without Upachara Samadhi, we cannot attain absorption, Appana Samadhi. Anyway, the main thing is momentary concentration can arise only at the time of insight. So when we say Vipassana Samadhi or Vipassana Jhana, it must be momentary concentration. Here I didn't write down many things about jhana because it will be so wide and many other things. For example, we have Aramanupani jhana. Aramana means object. Upani jhana means absorption. The our mind can absorb in the object. So in this case, we can say Appana Samadhi or Jhana Samadhi. This is Samatha. For example, our mind will absorb on Anapanapatipaka Nimitta, then we can say this is Aramnupani Jhana. Then we have another one, Lakhanupani-jhana, absorption on the characteristics. So for example, when we practice 4 elements as the foundations of Vipassana, we must know the characteristics of 4 elements. If our mind can absorb on it, then this is also called asset concentration. This is also called Lakhanupani-jhana. Then we will continue practicing other materialities. For example, we may continue eye translucency, ear translucency, and any other materialities. At the time, also, our minds must absorb on the objects, absorb on the characteristics of eye translucency and all other materialities. This is also called Lakhanupani-jhana. That means the mind can absorb on the characteristics. Now we have another things about path and fusion knowledge. Actually, at the time of path and fusion knowledge also, the path knowledge also absorbed on Nibbana. This is also characteristic. There's Nibbana also characteristics. Pala also can focus, can absorb on Nibbana. Nibbana is the object. That's the other time we can also say Lakhanupani-jhana. So Lakhanupani-jhana can cover many steps of Vipassana, from Namarupa Paricheda and every single step until we attain path and fusion knowledge. They are called Lakhanupani-jhana. The mind can absorb on the characteristics of mentalities and materialities. So this is also called momentary concentration. Okay, now we have to move a few more forward. 11 things leads to the arising of concentration. 1. Purifications of bases. We have already explained this one when we talk about Dhammavicaya Sambhojjhanga. So purifications of bases mean we have internal bases and external bases. Internal bases are from our body. For example, as a already person, when we have very long hair, it will be itchy. Right? Similarly, we have to shave every of our body hair also around our mouth. Right? So this is also called impediments. Similarly, we have very long nails, fingernails, toenails, and when we meditate, then we touch our palm for the finger, then we know it's a little bit hot. There's a long fingernails, we have to cut. Now we have to take a shower to feel fresh, anything. This is called internal bases. We also have external bases, such as living place, then bed sheet, and pillow. Then we have to make everything clean and smooth and neat. So that means when we are going to practice, we must define all internal and external bases. But our living place is very smelly, we cannot concentrate very well. When our place is very messy also, we cannot concentrate very well. When we are going to meditate, we have to make everything smooth, everything be neat. This is called Uttavissada. 2. Indriya Samatha-Vipassanā, balancing the 5 controlling faculties. Actually, we have already talked about it many times in many different parts of Dhamma talk. Right? Sometimes because of questioners, I have to repeat the same things. Saddha and Panya, if we cannot balance these two, right? But Saddha is excessive, Panya is weak. We may believe everything easily. Wrong belief. We may also have wrong belief. Sometimes we have very strong Panya, very weak Saddha. We may have wicked minds. It will be very risky for our practice. Similarly, samadhi and effort. If we have excessive efforts, weak concentration, the more we struggle, the more we have wandering thoughts of restlessness. Sometimes we have very weak efforts, very strong concentration. We may fall asleep, or we may fall into one night state, or we may feel lazy. So mindfulness is a key player mindfulness is always needed. If we can balance controlling faculties, we can smoothly practice. We can smoothly attain jhana. Even in the case of asset concentration and absorption concentration, I have already said, we cannot balance controlling faculties. We cannot balance controlling faculties at the time of asset concentration. That is why we fall into Bojjhanga state. If we can balance controlling faculties, we can attain jhana easily. That's why it's also important. This is one thing, right? Number 2. Okay, now 3. Nimitta kusala down. Ski in taking up the sign of concentration. So in the case of skill in nimitta, here we have 3 parts. One is the karana kosala. Right? Karana kosala means ski in making nimitta. So here I just give example of how to get kasina nimitta and so on. Right? So kasina nimitta means we have to prepare for kasina nimitta. For example, when we are going to do some white kasina as a beginner, then we have to make piece of clothes, piece of white clothes, piece of white paper, any piece of white material, including the wall also possible. White wall, right? Then it also can be white flower. So we must prepare kasina objects. This is also important. Not only that, there must be some guidelines to prepare kasinas, to visualize the object. For example, it must not be so close, it must not be very far. Right? Then also we must open our eyes moderately. There are many guidelines to see kasina objects. We must learn everything in detail. This is called karana kosala. Okay, what about anapanasati? We have already mentioned many times natural breathing, right? That you must know how to be natural. This is also really very important. Now, I have explained many times about natural breathing. Natural breathing means as you are breathing now, in every day and in your daily life. So you must breathe naturally as you are breathing normally in your daily life. This is called natural breathing. Now, you must also know how to know natural breathing. Sometimes you may be a little bit eager or in a hurry. You want to improve very fast. You cannot satisfy with your concentration. You may put extra efforts. Then the rest you can unnatural, right? So that means you must also know how to focus on the breath, how to focus normally. Actually, in every single step, there's a different approach. For example, short and long breaths. Right? We have already mentioned it's just duration, not the distance. It doesn't mean how many inches, how many meters. It just means the durations of breathing and breathe out. So these are called guidelines. We must know all the things. We must follow all the things. We must be skillful in following all these things. Then this is called karana kosala. Rakana kosala, maintaining. Skill in maintenance. So skill in how to maintain the nimitta, such as avoiding unsuitable results, defilements, and laziness. Yeah, I just say very briefly. For our unsuitable results, when we talk about Vasati Sabojjhanga, we have already mentioned. Okay, just recall. We have weather, food, posture, and persons. We have already mentioned in Vasati Sabojjhanga, right? So there are also many other unsuitable conditions. For example, talking a lot, talking unnecessary things, associated with many different people. If we associate with people too much, we connect with this person, that person too much, we cannot concentrate very well. This is also one of the things. Not only that, there are many other things. For example, no moderating in foods, no guidance in those, all are unsuitable conditions. So if we can avoid all these things, then we call rakana. We are ski in maintenance. Another thing is defilements. We must also know how to avoid defilements, how to protect ourselves from defilements. Sometimes we are in a hurry, we become greedy. For example, when you start seeing the light, it's very attractive, very interesting. Then you also like this kind of things, just follow, it becomes greed. It also becomes an obstacle. So that's why I remind, whatever thing you see, don't follow it. Just remind yourself to keep knowing breathing. It's easier to improve. Okay, the main thing is the defilements. Actually, when we have defilements, our concentration will decline very easily. Then another thing is laziness. Sometimes we are not very interested in meditation. We become lazy. We become bored. In this case, also one of the problems. If we can avoid all these things, unsuitable conditions, defilements, and laziness, we can maintain our concentration. It will be, we call Prakana Kosala. Then Bhavana Kosala, ski in developing. So we must be skillful in developing also. So if we can maintain well, then we also have to improve naturally. Ski in how to develop the concentration. Okay, here we should say two different things, the quality and the quantity. When we have normal concentration, okay, you can increase the quantity. Quantity means longer sitting. Sometimes your minds become very well. Your mind is a very natural. Your object also become very natural. Then mind and object keep knowing automatically, effortlessly. At the time, we can say quality. So you may have deeper concentration, better concentration. When you have better concentration, also you can develop quality. Of course, if you can develop both quality and quantity, it's much better, right? Longer sitting with good concentration is the best. So we can say two different things, right? So normal concentration, longer sitting. Very good concentration, short sitting. Maybe normal sitting, we can say. Then if we have both very good concentrations, the long sitting is much better. Quality and quantity both. If we can develop very well, we can say Bhavana Kosana. We become skillful in developing. So these are also called Nimitta Kosana. That means when you start seeing the Nimitta, we must have these three Kosana. As soon as we start sitting, we have Nimitta. Nimitta means Anapana is also called Nimitta. So we must learn the guidelines for beginner. Then we must maintain, avoiding some the defilements and unstable conditions and maybe laziness. We must also develop quality of quantity. This is called Nimitta Kosana. Then we have a few more steps. Samaye Jitasa Bhagananada. I've written the insight of the mind on occasion. So that means when inactive and having weak efforts, one should develop the enlightenment factor of investigation, efforts, and joy. So that means when we have laziness, less interest in meditation, we have very weak mind power, at the time we should develop the enlightenment factor of investigation, efforts, and joy. So we have already explained all these types of enlightenment factors. So the first one is mindfulness, right? The enlightenment factor of mindfulness. Second one is the enlightenment factor of investigation. Second one is, the third one is efforts, and after the joy. So I have already explained all these four. Whenever your mind become very weak and lazy, you can use all these formula. In the case of developing BT, right, there are 11. I also have explained all types of recollections there. In the case of effort also, I mentioned very much in detail about sense of urgency and many different things. In the case of investigation also, asking no deep passage, learning and many different things, right? Okay, the main thing is, whenever our mind is not ready, unwilling, or very weak, or lazy, then we can use all the formula we have learned in Bojjhanga Sutta, in the Dhamma talk. Then we can proceed to the next one, 5. Samayajita, the restraining of mind on an occasion. When extremely active, that means sometimes our mind is very extremely active, that one should develop the enlightenment factors of tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. So now we are talking about concentration. Maybe we have next one, equanimity, right? Now you're finished. So yesterday we have already talked about tranquility, how to develop tranquilities. Sometimes we are too happy, so active. Our faith also very strong. At the time, we should try to do tranquility. I have explained yesterday. Now today we are talking about concentration. So we can also develop the enlightenment factor of concentration. So if we can develop enlightenment factor of concentrations and also enlightenment factor of equanimities, we can subside very active mind. Then we can practice smoothly. Actually, there are many other explanations about it. It will be a little bit longer to explain. Anyway, the main thing is, when we are going to improve concentration, we also need all these supporting causes. So from time to time, we have to change the object to have better concentration. Then, okay, maybe today I should stop here, right? We have many other, now we have many other things in the concentration chapter. Maybe I should going to use tomorrow. Okay, anyway, up to today, when we talk about the enlightenment factor of concentration, how to develop the enlightenment factor of concentration, then we also learn how to use enlightenment factors. We have learned already, right? How to use. So number 4, we can use Dhamma investigation, then Viriya, efforts, and Piti, joy. When we have very lazy minds or weak and unwilling minds, when we get bored, also we can do. The 5 now, when our mind becomes very active, we should also develop the enlightenment factor of tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. It will be useful for meditative and current conditions. So we must use our knowledge for practice. Okay? May you all be able to practice the 3 trainings, and may you all be able to realize final cessation and no suffering.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Sayadaw. Sayadaw, shall we proceed to the question and answer?
Okay, we can start.
Shall we take the question from the floor first? Dear Dhamma brothers and sisters, if you have any question, please raise your hand.
Sayadaw, can we take the one-pointedness in the 7 universal mental vectors to be the foundation to argue that momentary concentration doesn't need to attain first jhana first and then emerge from it?
Actually, we don't want to come on to focus on this kind of things. This is One more thing, and this kind of thing is ultimate reality, not that easy to understand, not easy to, for example, okay, I will say only the Passa, right? Passa is like only mental contact. For example, we have eye contact. When seeing the color with our eyes, we can say this is the eye contact, right? This is also called Cakkhu Sampassa. Similarly, Sota Sampassa, ear contact, nose Sampassa, Kana, then we can say the Kana Sampassa, nose contact, then Jiva Sampassa, tongue contact, then was that body Sampassa, that body contact, and was that like Mano Sampassa, mind contact, right? In the case of ultimate reality, the more we analyze, the more it gets deeper. Okay, now I will analyze again. Eye contact. In the case of eye contact, three things. The first one is eye translucency. The second one is visible objects. The third one is eye consciousness. So Passa will contact these three that we can see. Right? So okay, one more thing. I will analyze again. Cakkhu Sampassa. Sorry. No, sorry. I will analyze. I have said three, right? Eye translucency, visible objects, eye consciousness. Okay? Then, for example, eye translucency. In the eye translucency, there are 10 materialities again. Right? So, in the case of the visible objects, it depends on what kind of visible object we have. There can be different types of materialities. For example, if we say flower, it will be, if we see flower, it will be only Uddhajarupas, Damdhajarupas materialities. If we see human being, then it will be many different materialities. Right? That's why in the case of ultimate reality, the more we analyze, the more it gets deeper. That's why it's not that easy to understand. So that's why I don't recommend to focus on 7 universes or anything. For example, feeling also, right? You may know feeling, right? According to Samatha-Vipassanā Sutta, there are 9 types of feeling. You can imagine 9 types of feeling. Too much. Okay, I will say only one of them. Happy feeling, for example. So, okay, happy feeling also we have produced by eye contact, happy feeling. Produced by ear contact, produced also feeling. All contact produce feeling. Then it will be very messy. You cannot get one-pointedness because you have to analyze many things in detail, right? That's why in the case of Vipassana, in the case of ultimate reality, we can analyze more in detail. But in the case of Samatha, when we are going to establish concentration, don't analyze too much. Right? That's why we don't recommend to focus any of 7 universals. Okay?
Any more questions?
Any other question for anybody?
Sarah, shall we take question from the Zoom chat?
Okay.
Question 1. Pandami Sayadaw, when a person passes away without obtaining noblehood, and if he or she is reborn in the human realm, is there any likelihood that he continues to be a Buddhist? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, it depends on environment also. Right? So one more thing, he may practice very seriously in his or her past life. Is possibility to be reborn as a Buddhist. Okay. Next one.
Question 2 is a Chinese question.
顶礼尊者，我从小对色彩的感觉比较敏感，对深处比较钝感。最近的3、4年里，在修行入出洗练过程中，对呼吸感觉起伏不定。而我看到一张白纸，闭上眼，脑海里就能轻松地呈现刚刚看到的纸。请问尊者，根据我的情况，是否可以暂时不修入出习，修习白电？如果可以，白片怎么修？感恩尊者，沙度沙度沙度。
Okay, so if you have proper teacher around you, then you should also discuss with him. Okay, now I should say something about it, right? For example, now you may see white piece of cloth or white piece of paper in your mind, then you can visualize easily. The main thing is how long you can visualize. And sometimes you can visualize only a few seconds, not even a minute, right? So if you can maintain a few minutes or maybe at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, okay, you can continue practicing kasina. So kasina is not so simple and easy as anapanasati. That's why I don't recommend. Okay. But one more thing. In your case, now I have already asked the question, right? How long you can maintain? How long you can visualize? How stable the color is? It depends on all these conditions. Then you can discuss with your teacher. Then if you allow, you can also proceed practicing kasina. Okay.
Yes, Yado. Next question. Vietnamese Yado, 1. How to qualify that one has attained first jhana? What's the necessary step to check a meditator? 2. Can meditator hear sound and have thoughts? 3. How long must meditator absorb on Patipaga Nimitta deeply to qualify as first jhana? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So number 1, I am going to talk about the 10 qualities of jhana tomorrow, right? That's why I will skip the first question, right? Okay, it will be very much in detail about jhana. Tomorrow you have to listen all these things. Then 2, can meditate, right? Hear the sound or have thoughts. Okay, one more thing. When we hear the sound at the time we are not in the jhana, that means our concentration a little bit weak. That's why we can hear the jhana. Or sometimes, for example, like Venerable Mahamoggana's case, elephant trumpeting, right? He could hear elephant sounds. That means it's very noise sound he could hear. At the time he's not in the jhana. Okay? The main thing is when we can hear the sound at the time we are not in the jhana, the sensual sphere consciousness. When our mind can absorb it, we are in the jhana. So at the time we can say we drop jhana, we also enter jhana. The two different things, right? We know two different things. For about the thoughts, actually, if we have very deep absorption, we may not have the thoughts. This is very clear already. Another is how long, right? It does not take. How long we must absorb on the Pratipagga Nimitta. It depends on your masteries. The longer you can absorb, the better it will be. That means when you can focus longer, then you are more skillful in the jhana. The longer you can focus, the better it will be, right? We don't limit the time. 4 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, okay, as you like, you can do. Next one.
Thank you, Sayadaw. Next question. Vietnamese Sayadaw, 1. How to differentiate if one is only focusing on light versus absorption on nimitta? 2. If a meditator is not able to clearly discern Bhavanga Maido and nimitta there, can he proceed to check jhana factors? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So here we have two different questions, right? The first one is how to differentiate, right, the light or nimitta. One more thing, in the case of the light, it can be everywhere in your body. In the case of nimitta, it must be around the nostril. Very bright, very illuminating light around the nostril. So it will be two different things. When your mind can absorb on the nimitta around nostril, then be very bright nimitta around nostril, then you can say this is it. Focus, right focusing. The another thing is the Bojjhanga mind. Okay, one more thing here. When we are going to think about mentalities, we have 3 different things. The first one is base. For example, iron base, we call iron translucency, and we can also have visible objects. Then we can also have iron consciousnesses. 3, right? In every single mentality, we have these 3: base, objects, and mentalities. 3. For Arupa Brahma, it will be exceptions. They may have objects, but they may have consciousness, no base, because they don't have materialities. In the case of Bojjhanga, also the same. Bojjhanga is the base of jhana. That means this is called the mind-to-matter process. Another thing is objects, nimitta. Another thing is mentalities. Actually, 5 jhana factors are mentalities. But it's compulsory to know base and objects. Then we also have to know mentalities. Okay?
Okay. The next question is a Chinese question.
礼敬尊者，初禅有5个禅支，请问寻和是这2个禅支是同时升起吗？
Actually, all the 5 jhana factors arise together when we are in the jhana, in the first jhana. Right? We will not say they arise separately. For example, first time we take arise, second time we arise, not like this. They arise together. They are working together to keep knowing one object. Right? Okay. Next one.
Next question, Chinese question.
礼敬西亚多，请老师帮忙详细开示观禅定。观禅定与刹那定、进行定有什么区别？感恩西亚多，萨多萨多萨多。
Okay, so asset concentration can be only in samatha, right? So in every single jhana, there's asset concentration. I have already mentioned in the Dhamma talk. What about the momentary concentration and vipassana concentration? Then they are the same, you can say. Because the momentary concentration also have to know nama-rupas. Vipassana concentration also have to know nama-rupas. That's why they are the same, right? If we analyze another way, in the samatha, upachara samadhi, and all the jhana are called aramanupani jhana. So momentary concentration and vipassana concentration is called lakhanupani jhana. Okay, we can analyze 2 different things like that. Next one.
Next question, Vietnamese question.
Okay, full moon day, right? It's a 15, right? 15 full moon, right? So according to Myanmar calendar, it will be 22nd. So tomorrow in Nepal, right? Maybe for US, it will be tomorrow, right? Any other thing? No more question?
There's one more question.
Okay. Any question on the floor?
Okay, one question in the chat group, Sarah. Okay. Wandami Siado, the Bodhisattva learn and attain 8 jhana, 4 arupa jhana, 4 rupi jhana from the teachers. What are these jhana? Did the Bodhisattva learn Anapanasati from his teacher? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So when he studied from Alara Kalama, then he could attain up to 7 attainments. When he studied from Udagarama Buddha, he can attain up to 8 attainments. We can say like that, right? So 4 rupa jhana means we have already mentioned Vitaka, Vichara, Vidisuka, Ekagata. Then this is the first jhana. Vidisuka, Ekagata, second jhana. Suka, Ekagata, third jhana. Upaka, Ekagata, fourth jhana. We have this kind of analysis. This is called material jhana. So that means in the case of material jhana, we have different jhana factors. 5 jhana factors in first jhana, 3 jhana factors in second jhana, 2 jhana factors in the fourth jhana, 2 jhana factor and 3 and 4 jhana. So we have this kind of right approach. In the case of arupa jhana, immaterial jhanas, different objects like a boundless space, boundless consciousness, nothingness, neither perception or non-perception. These are called 4 arupa jhana, right? So one more thing, it doesn't mention Bodhisattva learned anapanasati from his teacher, because when we talk about 8 jhanas, 8 attainments, it must be Kasina, not anapanasati. But when we study in Majjhima Nikaya, then it also mentioned the Buddha practiced anapanasati when he was practicing alone. At the time he was controlling breathing, so he had to suffer a lot. So you can go and study Majjhima Nikaya, like Mahasacaka Sutta. You can find many information about Buddha's practice, how he has to suffer for anapanasati, right? That's why when he teach his students, he just say, Sutawa asasati, Sutawa pasasati, right? Just mindfully breathing, just mindfully breathe out, without controlling, because he controlled breathing too much. He had to suffer a lot when he was practicing, right? So that means we have some reference, the Bodhisattva practiced anapanasati, but we don't have any reference. Bodhisattva learned anapanasati from his teacher. Okay? Next one.
Sarah, we don't have any question from chat group. Okay, Dhamma brother and sister, do you all have any question? Question from the floor?
Oh, one more question from Vietnamese group
Yes, Sarah.
in the chat.
Let me copy to the.
Okay.
Para. Yes, Pandit.
Okay, so seeing the light, we can also say this is sign of improvement, right? We can say a part of sign of concentrations. But what about the parami? Actually, there are many other things you have to fulfill parami, right? I have already said the samatha practice, attaining jhana is a nikama parami. Okay, the main thing is you must try to give up all types of enjoyable things. And most of the time, you must live simply and naturally. After that, more focus on the breathing. When you have habit of practicing, then you can fulfill more parami. Then you can also improve faster. Okay? Next one. One more question.
Sarah, we don't have any more question today. Sarah, shall we proceed to close the session for today?
Okay.
Okay, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much for your teachings today, and thank you, our interpreter Bande, for the translation. May we invite Sarah to lead us in making aspiration and sharing of merits. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Etawadaja ammehi sambadam punya sambadam sabbe devanumodandu sabbe bhutanumodandu sabbe sattanumodandu sabba sampati siriya idhamme nyatinam hotu sukhita hondu nyadayo idhamme nyatinam hotu sukhita hondu nyadayo idhamme nyatinam hotu sukhita hondu nyadayo idhamme punyam asavakaya vaham hotu idhamme punyam nibbānasa Bhattiyo hotu mama punya bhagam sabba satanam pajemi te sabbe me samam punya bhagam labandu sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Thank you, Sayadaw, and everyone for your time and participation. Till we meet again tomorrow, may all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.